When I was in college, me and my buddies played this board game similar to Dungeons and Dragons called Heroescape, and we were really into it, collected all the sets, built enormous worlds that took up an entire living room floor and required pathways to walk to different sections of the map, and in one of those expansions, we got a character named Marku. And he was a meme. He had incredible movement, he could fly, great attack value, and he was dirt cheap to purchase at the beginning of a campaign. But the only caveat is that at the beginning of your turn, you had to roll a d20, and you had a 40% chance that your opponent could hijack him for a turn, turn him around, and just completely destroy one of your pieces in play with him. The Rapacious Appetite seasonal SMG from Season of the Deep, it reminds me of Marku. You're going to see some plays in this video where the Rapacious is popping off, racking up kill after kill after kill, forcing my opponents to respect it. Then you're going to see some other plays where using the Rapacious Appetite may as well have been self-sabotage, just making the engagement way easier for the other guy. I'll slow down some of these duels. You'll see especially how hard it is to keep this thing on target while taking flinch, and the stability values. We'll get into all that. Just like Marku could either be a meme or a monster, the Rapacious will give you moments of hope where you think, hey, this gun might be pretty banging. But those moments will be scattered among numerous engagements where you feel like you may as well be holding the gun backwards, firing directly into your chest. Let's dive in. I used the Rapacious for several days, leveled it up organically in PV, slowly crawling through the weapon levels, kill after kill, match after match, and after hundreds of kills I ended up landing on 2 perk combinations that felt best to me in PvP. I know a lot of you guys want those recommended perks earlier in the video, so I'll just go ahead and show you those now. I liked Enhanced Target Lock and Enhanced Encore, but a close second was Enhanced Perpetual Motion and Enhanced Target Lock. We'll talk barrels and mags in a minute. Let's get into base stats of this weapon real quick. The base range on the Rapacious is 43, which is very good in its subfamily of aggressive 750 RPM SMGs. Compare that to the Immortal's base 40, borrowed times 37, and the Ikelos SMG's 44. Pretty competitive in that stat value, but the stability is where things get really bad really fast. The base stability on the Rapacious is 6. Immortals is 25, borrowed time has 18, Ikelos is 25. The stability is trash. You're going to spend half of your perks just trying to compensate for it. The low stability really matters. You're going to be taking a lot of flinch in the middle of your duels with this weapon. In April of 2022 last year, Bungie started tying flinch to stability to try to encourage players to move away from only speccing into range, but it ended up really killing some of these low stability weapons, and the Rapacious falls victim to that. The handling on the Rapacious isn't terrible, but it's on the lower end of the family at 53, while the Ikelos gets 62. Base reload is on the bottom end of the family as well at 22. And the aim assist is awful compared to the others at 27. The other big contenders in the family have 39, 38, and 37. That's a whole adept targeting mod and then some more for most of these other SMGs. The final base stat is the recoil direction though, which is very nice at 94, almost perfectly vertical. So to put all of that into perspective, the Immortal and the Ikelos SMG both have a total stat package worth 192 points that Bungie allocated to their stat categories. The borrowed time has 167, but the Rapacious Appetite only has 151, which is catastrophically low. It has a huge uphill battle if it wants to be relevant. It's going to need some banger perks to offset its innate weaknesses. The biggest thing here is the relationship between the terrible aim assist value and the abysmal stability value. With low stability and low aim assist, it's going to be really difficult to consistently land your crits while you're in the middle of a duel to get your optimal TTKs. In the 2 main perk columns, you've got Encore, kills extend range and grant more stability, as well as an accuracy cone buff up to 4 stacks. Then there's Invisible Hand, missing shots grants you more stability until you start landing them again. You got 4 times the charm, Perpetual Motion, being in motion grants stacking buffs to stability, handling, and reload. Offhand Strike, final blows grant a short period of extra range, stability, and accuracy from the hip. Well-rounded and Envious Assassin. In this column, I'm going to recommend Encore and Perpetual Motion because those are going to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of offsetting the atrocious stability on this SMG. Encore will give you better mileage as well as that accuracy cone buff, which is going to help offset that aim assist value, but it does require kills to activate the perk. Perpetual Motion will give you less, but it's basically free and doesn't need to be activated with a kill. You could make a case for Offhand Strike, or even Well-Rounded, but frankly those are just a little too situational for me. In the second column you've got Frenzy, Cascade Point, Target Lock, Harmony, Focused Fury, Headstone, and One for All. In this column, I'd go with Target Lock because it's going to ramp up your damage later in your volley and help make the weapon a little more forgiving, which is good when the stability is so bad. Enhancing this perk makes it even better, potentially reducing the optimal TTK if you stack it with other damage buffs like the Mask of Bacchus. And that's really where I fell into a good rhythm with this gun. I found that if I used the Bacchus dodge to set me up in a duel, I could use the damage buff to stasis weapons from Bacchus and stack it with the increasing damage from Target Lock, and if I landed my shots, I could absolutely delete people. I'll get back to my gameplay loop in a second, but wrapping up the perks discussion, there's also Cascade Point, which can be pretty fun as well. Honestly, I really wish that they would have just said, you know, screw it, let's give them Cascade Point in the first column and Harmony in the second column. That way we could have an SMG with, you know, terrible base stats, but you can make it a monster every now and then by crafting it with Cascade Point and Harmony together. Get a kill with your other weapon. Now you have an SMG that can dump a mag at lightning speeds while doing extra damage on top of it. It would be hard to control, you know, the stability being so trash, but, you know, you could barrel stuff someone and just delete them. It would be super situational, but it would give this gun a unique combination that could seriously be a ton of fun in sixes. But lastly, you've got Unsated Hunger, the origin trait. It's the opposite of Surplus. When no abilities are cooled down, you've got huge buffs to handling, reload, and stability. Now, when it kicks in, this origin trait is no joke, and it does help encourage you to make sure you're using your abilities anytime they might be appropriate. It's just a shame that without perks like Unsated Hunger or Perpetual Motion or Encore, this SMG is just too unstable to feel any kind of reliable. So what's the verdict? Well, I told you how I crafted mine earlier. Small bore ricochet rounds, enhanced Encore, enhanced Target Lock, and a stability masterwork. You know, it's usable, and it dragged and dropped pretty nicely into my Bacchus build. You know, I could use my mobility with the Bacchus dodge to set me up into some winnable duels up front, get Encore up and running, and then start chaining that perk, which was pretty nice. But being in skill-based lobbies against things like Immortals and you know, all the other more heavy-hitting SMGs out there, it was a serious uphill battle. So like I said, it's usable, but without ramping up the weapon with either Bacchus or, you know, a kill to activate Encore, the weapon just feels genuinely bad. But once you get it up and running, and things like Encore and the Stasis Weapon Boost and Unsated Hunger Origin Trait, you know, with all of those things active at various times, and the weapon, it really comes alive. The challenge is helping it reach its upper limits and then keeping it there. If you can manage to keep it there more frequently in your matches, you're going to have a good time with it. But just like our boy Marku, some things are just out of your control, and the weapon has the chance to be a genuine detriment to you as well. But the hard reality is that the limits on some of these other SMGs are just much higher. The Immortal has 41 more stat points, so does the Ikelos under their hood, and the Immortal has access to the same great perk combinations with Encore and Perpetual Motion and Target Lock in its pools, as well as some other banger perks like Rangefinder, Tap the Trigger, Surplus, Killing Wind, Kill Clip. I mean, the Rapacious is scraping the bottom of the barrel for tools to work with. At the end of the day, the Rapacious Appetite can be fun and effective depending on your build and your playstyle, but all in all, it simply can't hold a candle to the competition in its family. The new wave of perks this season just aren't good enough to warrant spending too much time and resources investing in this thing. It's a wild card that is just as likely to get you killed as it is to get a kill, and that's my final verdict. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the support. If you enjoyed it, then leave a like on the video and consider subscribing for additional Destiny 2 content. Let me know in the comments section what you think of the Rapacious Appetite in your experience, and let me know what weapon you want me to review next on the channel. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.
Sound tactics so far. Everything is yours. Relish this time. Powerful skills. That's 2, 3 opponents down. I'm calling it.